in such a powerful conversation because the mission is very important for women's health. And so I want to, before we dive into the details around the products, I want to talk about the spirit and the heart of both of you. And what I think is important is, you know, when did you realize, or when did you come to realize that being a change agent was your personal mission? And how has the beginning of your story helped you create the future that you're building for your family and the community? Can you share a little bit about that?
Well, for me personally, what literally took place was when we saw this for the first time, in terms of with this actual product that's been created, this rain product, we literally saw a game changer for young ladies and women all around the world. Because one thing I knew as a man, it didn't take a rocket science to see that, you know, simply by keeping someone comfortable and dry during that time of month would make all the sense in the world. And that actual thought for us turned out to be true. And it's a life-changing, game-changing thought.
Absolutely.
Well, for me, I believe as a female, it's a personal story. I remember when first seeing the presentation for the first time, and we saw the presentation with our kids. We have 3 daughters, and immediately I thought of them. And I thought about my previous story. I had recently had a partial hysterectomy, and then I thought about all the different issues and concerns that I had, having to have that process done, not feeling like maybe I'm going to be a whole woman, I'll be half of a woman because of everything that you know entails. And it just hit home, and I just wanted to be able to share it with as many people as I could.
So I think it's important that we address the education gap, because I don't think a lot of people know about the larger conversation at hand, right? You know, the affordability, accessibility, and availability to sanitary items to women across the world. Upon doing your research and collecting data, were there any alarming statistics, facts that you came across that we would be surprised to know?
Yeah, absolutely. Myself, I discovered that a lot of African American women were suffering with a lot of challenges that we saw could be avoided, and as we began to counsel with some OBGYN surgeons, it turned out that that hunch and that intuition was correct. Now, obviously, I'm not a medical doctor, but being able to just put my common sense analysis to it, I was able to see this is a game changer. And they agreed with us in terms of being able to offer a difference in terms of the journey that many young girls start out with. Because one of the things that we discovered along the way was that in the United States alone, we have about 600,000 hysterectomies that are done per year, and the majority of them are African American.
Wow. Was there anything that surprised you when you were, you know, when you first saw after, you know, the formation of the company?
I'm going to be honest. I talked to my physician about our tags, my OB, and immediately she shared with me. She said, you know, there's always a thought of something that what women share. What do we have in common that women use? All women use typically, you know, the feminine sanitary napkin. And she said, I would have never thought that this would be attributed to all the different concerns that, you know, we have as women, or all the different things I've heard, and trying to figure out what is it. I know that we all drink water. I know that our eating habits are different, but this was that common thing that we all experience as women. So it's amazing that some even physicians are puzzled, you know, by the challenges we have.
TSS, toxic shock syndrome. For the individuals who will watch us around the world who are unfamiliar, can you please briefly describe it and why it can be fatal?
Well, one of the things that, you know, once again, common sense tuition, I was speaking with some of the OBGYN surgeons that we consult with, and I said, listen, tell me if this makes sense. I said, you know, a tampon acts as a plug for something that was naturally designed to come out of a female. I said, so I'm confused in terms of why they so highly endorse, why so many young girls and women are using them, and that's where the toxicity comes from. Which turns out, again, right, we were spot on, because now literally the toxins are being locked into the body.
Right.
So some of the things they were sharing that it leads to is miscarriages. Yeast infections and all these different challenges that a female will be faced with because of the dangers of tampons and the fact that it's stopping a natural process of growth that's supposed to take place.
When I was watching your videos, Refeed came up a lot. How did you, for people who don't know, let's talk about what it is, and how did you even source this material to begin with, and why was it very important for you to infuse this material into your product line?
Well, we were on a mission for something special.
Right.
We didn't want to be average. We didn't want to be anything, because we pride ourselves on being the Rolls Royce
Right.
of sanitary napkins and panty liners.
All right.
That's right, the ring Rolls Royce specifically. And what we do is we pride ourselves on that. So as I was talking to actually a consultant that my wife and I was working with out of California, and we were talking to this gentleman, and he sourced anything you want to get your hands on around the world. And literally we were talking back and forth for months. And he was like, Demond, you know you're searching for the needle in the haystack. And his name is Jeff. And I said, Jeff, we're going to find it, because we're looking for it. We're not going to stop. I said, we're not going to be normal. We're not coming out like everybody else is. And he called me. He says, man, your spirit and your energy, you brought it to us. And he says, I got it. And I said, Jeff, what is it? He says, graphene. It's a Nobel Prize winning material. I said, hold on, Jeff. Graphene and the Sanitary, explain it to me. And then, when you started looking at it, you saw the attributes, and you were thinking electricity, and I was like,
Right.
But as we began to research it, we were like, oh my goodness, he's hit the jackpot. He's giving us the actual game changer for this particular industry. And when we started seeing what it do, and the testimonies that started pouring in, because a lot of people don't know, Ms. Reid, that we literally did a feasibility study before we launched it.
Nice.
So we had females and individuals that was trying the product, and they had to fill out a survey and give us the feedback, and it was a grand slam, it was a home run, and we knew we had something special.
I want to know more about your background, direct sales, consumer marketing, strategic planning. How did that inform your decision making when carving out and building the marketing and branding strategy? Because you've entered a saturated market. So how did you cut through the noise?
Well, one of the things for us, number one, is we always had a drive, and we prided ourselves on being special. We've been entrepreneurs since 1994. So figuring out a way to win was never nothing new to us.
Okay.
So we knew if we were going to do it, we were going to do it right, and we were going to be the best at it. So for us and our entrepreneur skills, we knew that we could have marketed this like nobody else could. And one of the things that we saw that no other company on the planet was doing was very simple. Nobody was doing focus groups.
Right.
Nobody was actually going into the community, going into people's homes, and talking to them about the issues that many women deal with. And now many people were having challenges because I was a man that was out there in the forefront, but what they didn't understand was simple fact that also I was a father.
Right.
And I was a husband. And as I began to dig, I began to get really angry, and the anger turned to passion because I saw the war that was being waged on women.
Right.
So for me, that's what really spiked us to know we got to do this right, be the best. We begin to do focus groups. We begin to allow people to do Q&A. And here's another fun fact. We probably have the same amount of male ambassadors that we do female ambassadors. Because then it opened that door to men
Right.
being able to talk about a taboo subject, because even in my home, my wife handled that.
Right.
I didn't go into that. I didn't talk about that. I didn't know it. We were ignorant to what they were going through, and once I realized what they were going through, man, it really, really made me real sensitive to the challenges that women and young girls face.
Now, Qiana, I live a very active lifestyle. I go to tampons because honestly, they're comfortable. Why is your product line better than what I'm already using? Is it comfortable? Is it going to make me feel like typical pads make me feel?
I think we had this conversation when we first started. I'm going to be honest, and even at our very first event, we had women in the audience that struggled, with not being given, having the option of being able to wear a tampon. At the end of the day, it's unhealthy. It's unhealthy. Our pads are extremely thin, right? And they absorb, I'm going to say literally 50 times more, because I can actually say it out loud, not 10, but 50 times more liquid, fluid, whatever it is, flow we can absorb that. And it allows a woman to feel comfortable, and she doesn't have anything inserted in her for the entire time, allowing the toxins to flow freely through her bloodstream. A very thin, comfortable path.
Talk to me about Justice for My Jewel. What is the mission behind the initiative, and how can we rally as a community to support?
One of the things that we are doing is education. I believe that as women, we were taught, you know, when that time of the month comes, you go inside the store and you purchase whichever brand. But we didn't know a lot about the ingredients or what we were doing, or what, you know, what the product was and how it was made and what it would do to our bodies. And I think that's the key. We've now learned to educate ourselves as far as health. And I'm going to be totally honest. With our campaign, it's not just educating the women on the choices that they make with the products that they're choosing, but also the men. It allows them to see, just like my husband mentioned, it allows them to kind of feel a little bit, you know, like, okay, well, I can be responsible for another female, or giving her a healthier option. I love the fact that we have ambassadors backing the product with the campaign, but also giving them another option, a healthier option.
So when I look into the audience and I see how much support we have today, it makes me feel like the community has rallied behind you in this journey. So can you talk to me a little bit about what impact has the community support, community resources, community network had on your ability to scale the organization?
Well, actually, it's been everything, because now there's nothing like, obviously, word of mouth. There's nothing like, you know, people who are right there in the fight with you that's just as passionate as you are. And a lot of the success that we've been blessed with has been because of many of these individuals that have also taken on this mission that we really own. And we're so honored to have them, you know, because people have traveled from all over the United States,
right.
California, New York, Houston, Florida, Tennessee, South Carolina, and you name it, you know, pretty much every state is covered. And to be able to have them represent for us like this. And also, we have a big Amish community following as well,
okay,
that's represented, and they'll be coming here real soon, you know, to visit the corporate office as well.
Okay, so we are sitting in your headquarters. Talk to me about how your plans to invest back into the community, and talk to me about you know, why this location and how your team facilitated this big launch.
Well, one of the things is, first of all, is give it up to the interior decorator who found it for us, you know, told us I have the building, because we were actually going to build the building.
Okay.
We were going to buy land,
right,
and put it up. We just didn't have time, because where we were busting out the seams, and we had to make a move real quick,
right,
to get things going. And this was the spot that we saw was perfect for what we needed to do and wanted to do. One of the things we want to do for the community, we're going to begin with scholarships. We're going to begin to give scholarships away, and we were talking about it at our run we had this morning, that we're going to start having field trips where we're bringing in middle school and high school young ladies, serve them lunch, come here, right? And we can talk to them about those challenges, you know, have the Girl Scouts come through, and, you know, have events where we can speak to them. That's the type of community engagement that we're excited about and looking forward to.
Speaking of young people, how do you plan to continue to inspire them to get into the world of business, right? Like, how do you plan on inspiring the next generation of business leaders to really fight for world issues?
One of the things that we believe in doing is one thing to cast a vision, but it's one thing to become the vision.
Right.
And what I mean by that is to actually manifest success. I've watched actually, I watched a father and son. I'll never forget this. And the father came to me and he says, I don't understand why my son follow you the way he does, but he don't follow me. And I humbly told the dad, I said, I want to be honest with you. He don't see success in you. Not that you're a bad dad, because success doesn't make you a good or bad dad, but I'm saying he doesn't see the manifestation of anything happening. And they ended up talking, and he came back and told me, man, you were spot on. That was the issue. So one of the things for us is we believe in showing people, listen, we're going high. When we tell you we're going to become a $1 billion a year company, we need to show you. You need to be able to walk in the facility and see the ambiance that, oh, at least we're heading in that direction, right? We can't just say these type of things and there is no type of manifestation showing the evidence that you're moving in the right direction and heading to the right path. Because I can honestly tell you this, everyone that's here today, enjoy this building because we won't be here very long because you're already going to begin to outgrow this place. So have fun right now.
That's great.
And what can we expect later this year? New product lines, the vending machine you just showed me. Like, what are the plans to scale to reach the $1 billion?
Well, one thing we plan on doing is obviously the vending machines. We're looking forward to having them in airports and college campuses all over the United States. Some of the things we're going to do, we're going to get more aggressive with traditional advertising. You know, magazines and different, because remember, we've never done any of this.
Right,
We just,
organic.
yes, we've recently just entered into the social media arena here just recently. And the $1 million goal is really engraved in stone. Our goal is to have, 3 million subscribers purchasing at least $30 per month, which is 5 packs of pads. That's one of each. That's our average subscription, $30. So once we reach that 3 million subscriber mark, $1 billion a year.
And Qiana, I'll end with you. As a parent, what does generational legacy and wealth mean to you?
I'm going to be honest, teaching your children how to increase their dollar and what our dollar does in our community. How we stretch and increase our dollar, the investments that we make, how do we put our dollars to come back and actually make more dollars? And for our generation, our legacy. That's what's important to me.
Awesome. Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. All right. Can we give it up for Miss Pauleanna Reid?
Wow.